Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. How are you all students? Today this is the fourth lecture of subject chemistry grade ninth. The chapter name is fundamentals of chemistry. The topic name is molecular mass, formula mass, chemical species, ions, atoms, anions, cations, molecular ion, free radical molecules. First of all, what is molar mass or molecular mass? Molecular mass is the sum of the relative atomic masses of all the atoms present in the molecule. For example, in water there are three atoms, that is, two of hydrogen and one of oxygen. You have to calculate the mass of all the atoms. So, molecular mass of a substance can be calculated by adding relative atomic masses of all the atoms in one molecule of a substance. Molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of any substance such as atoms, molecules, ions, etc., where the carbon 12 C612 isotope is assigned a value of exactly 12 gram per mole and is a particularly useful term as it applies to any entity. The molar mass should be accompanied by the formula of the particle. For example, molecular formula of ethane is C2H6. As we know, the mass of carbon is 12 and mass of hydrogen is 1. We will calculate the molar mass by taking the subscripts of the atom multiplying with the number of atoms present. For example, in C2 there are 2 carbon atoms. So the mass of carbon is 12. 12 will be multiplied by 2 and we will get the molar mass. Here are some examples of the molar mass. I gave you the example of water and ethane. The molar mass of a substance is equal to the mass in grams of 1 mole or 6.02 into 10 raised to power 23 particles of a substance. Second is formula mass. A formula mass is the sum of the atomic masses of ions present in the formula unit of an ionic compound. Here we will take an ionic compound which form ions, for example sodium chloride. So how to calculate the formula mass? We will take the atomic mass of sodium plus atomic mass of chlorine, multiply the subscript present of both the atoms. So we have the formula mass of sodium chloride is 58.5 AMU. Here is an example: Ca3PO4 whole twice. It means we have the calcium contains 3 atoms, phosphorus have 2 atoms, and oxygen has 6 atoms. The calcium has a mass of 40.08. As we know that the subscript of calcium or the number of atoms present are 3. So 40.08 is multiplied by 3 and we get 120.24. Similarly, phosphorus. The phosphorus has the mass of 30.97, round about 31. And its subscript is 2. So we will multiply it with 2. Oxygen has mass of 16 and the subscript of 8, that is 4 multiplied by 2, it is equal to 8. So 16 multiplied by 8 is equal to 128. We will take the sum of all these masses and the total mass of calcium phosphate is 310.18 grams. How to find formula mass? I have told you now. Write the correct formula for the compound. Look up the atomic mass of each element from the periodic table in the compound and round it to 2 decimal places. First we have to find the atomic mass. Atomic mass is given with the element. Multiply the rounded atomic mass by the subscripts. Subscripts means how many atoms are present. For example, in H2, it means 2 hydrogen atoms are present. Add all the masses of elements together and use the unit gram per mole. Next is ion. So the particles that carries an electric charge, positive or negative, due to the loss or gain of one or more electrons is called an ion. There are two types of ions, that is cations and anions. The cation carry positive charge and the anions carry negative charge. What is an atom? An atom is a neutral particle, the number of electrons and protons equal in an atom. An atom can lose or gain electron and the balance between number of protons and electrons is disturbed by losing or gaining of electron from an atom. What is a molecule? Atoms join together to form molecule. Only non-metals can bond together to form molecules in a chemical bond. How did it become an ion? Metal atoms and non-metal atoms go in opposite directions when they ionize. You have studied that ionic bond is between metals and non-metals. So the ionization will be between metal atom and the non-metal atom. The metal atom will lose electron and get the positive charge, and the non-metal atom will gain electron and get negative charge. The positively charged ion will be known as cation and the negatively charged ion will be known as anion. The process of an atom becoming an ion is called as ionization. The positive ion or cation occurs when an atom loses an electron. It means it loses its negative charge and becomes positive. And it has more protons as compared to electrons. Whereas the anion occurs when an atom gains an electron. It means it gains a negative charge. It gains an electron. So it have more electron than proton. Example is sodium chloride. The sodium has the ability to lose one electron, while the chlorine has the ability to gain one electron. So sodium will lose one electron and become positively charged and get cation. Chlorine will gain that electron and become anion. Free radicals. What are free radicals? Are atoms or group of atoms that has a single unpaired electron in an outer shell with no charge. It means, for example, a substance or an element contains two electrons and we separate one electron from it, the remaining electron will become unpaired. It is represented by putting a dot over the species. For example, H dot, Cl dot, CH3 dot. The dot represents the unpaired electron or the free radical. Free radicals are formed by the homolytic fission. It means that the both atoms will equally break and form radicals. Free radicals are formed by the homolytic fission of the bond between two atoms. For example, the chlorine molecule first forms chlorine free radical. We have chlorine molecule. It means that we have two chlorine atoms. Each chlorine atom will break down. The bond between two chlorine atoms will break and form a chlorine radical. The chlorine radical then reacts with the methane. By reacting it with methane, first methyl free radical is formed with the help of HCl. In the third step, this methyl radical will react with chlorine and form chloromethane and chlorine radical. Here you can see an example. This is a chlorine molecule, bromine molecule and iodine molecule. The bond between these molecules is broken and the free radicals are formed. They have some energy needed to break the bond. For chlorine, the highest amount of energy is required to break the bond, that is 243 kJ per mole. Bromine required less energy as compared to chlorine to break the bond, that is 192 kJ per mole. And the iodine requires the least amount of energy. Next is molecules. What is a molecule? A molecule is defined as an electrically neutral group of at least two atoms in a definite arrangement held together by very strong covalent chemical bonds. A molecule is formed by the chemical combination of atoms. As you know that two or more atoms combine to form a molecule. For example, NH3. In NH3 we have four atoms, three of hydrogen and one of nitrogen, and the four atoms combine to form a molecule. It is the smallest unit of a substance. Molecule is the smallest particle of matter which can exist free in nature and may be composed of like or unlike atoms. That is NH3 in which two unlike atoms are present. In N2, two like atoms are present. There are different types of molecules depending on the number and types of atom combining. A molecule may consist of atoms of a single chemical element, as with oxygen, or of different elements, as with water. Atoms and complexes connected by non covalent, such as hydrogen bonds or ionic bonds, are generally not considered single molecules. This was all about today's lecture. Thank you.